fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Dave Anderson here with the Fisherman magazine, and this week we're going to try to find ways to get you out fishing in between all your holiday prep this week. So let's start things off in Massachusetts, where things are getting a little bleak, especially inland, where a lot of the ponds have got skim ice on them, making them impossible to fish with rod and reel, but the ice isn't safe enough to walk on either, so kind of locked out in a lot of places in that regard. Still haven't heard any news of smelt from up in Maine. I'm sure that will happen soon. But the main focus still is Cape Cod freshwater, South Shore freshwater, Plymouth area, and it's mostly a trout game right now. This is one of my favorite times of year to target largemouth bass with jerk baits. Really great time of year to throw something like a flash minnow from Lucky Craft, or the Mega Bass Vision 110. Great time of year for that. The only thing that you sometimes have to do is just pause for a long time. But on the trout front, still hearing good results. Guys fishing bait, guys fishing, more classic lures like Thomas Buoyants and Phoebes and things like that. Gold, still very popular color. And the dominant species are going to be rainbows and browns on the Cape. All indications point to pretty good fishing. And there's not really anything saltwater going on that I've heard about in Massachusetts. I'm sure you could catch a codfish. There are some, rumors of holdover stripers in some of the estuaries on the Nantucket Sound side of the Cape, but that's really it. And I haven't heard anything from Buzzards Bay at all. So, that's pretty much a story that I have for you guys in Massachusetts this week. As we move over into Rhode Island, a lot of guys are starting to pack it in. If you want to get out and do some saltwater fishing, there are still options. You're just going to have to travel a little bit. So, there's still tog around, and that's probably the easiest target if you don't want to take a long ride. You can head out of the Harbor of Refuge, head out of Newport, and go out to 70, 80, 100 feet of water and probably pull some tog off of some of these deeper ledges. You might get a codfish, you might get a sea bass too. But if you want consistent fishing, you're going to have to travel, and you're going to have to head out to Block. You're going to go south of the windmills. You're going to go over to the east grounds. And that's where you're going to find good sea bass fishing. It's going to start to slow down a little bit more and more as these fish continue to migrate further offshore. But the bite's still good from all indications that I'm hearing. And cod fishing is decent and seems to be getting a little bit better every day. That's a really good thing to focus on from Rhode Island, from a Rhode Island perspective. The other thing is holdover striper fishing in Rhode Island seems to be off this year. It seems to just not have the numbers that we typically see in many of these estuarine environments. But, you hit those ponds, you bounce around a little bit. You hit those ponds up at Point Judith. You hit those ponds behind the breachways. You look around up in the bay in some of the backwaters, and you will eventually find some. It just doesn't seem like the numbers are as good as they have been in years past. And, that's pretty much it. We're not hearing any freshwater news from Rhode Island right now. And that's the story that I have for you guys at Rhode Island this week. So over in Connecticut, things are a little bit more exciting. We still have some migratory stripers, mostly out west, but there are some stragglers outside of most of the rivers, especially the Thames, Connecticut, and Housatonic. And holdover striper fishing is the best in the region right now in Connecticut. So really the crown jewel for that is, of course, the Housatonic River, where the bite has been very good. But I'm hearing good reports from the Thames. I'm hearing good reports from the Connecticut River. And I've heard some whispered reports from some of the other rivers as well. So it just seems like the striper fishing is definitely best in Connecticut and seems to be producing well. Another option for anglers in Connecticut is to hit the Farmington River. I actually got a video this week from one of the guides on the Farmington, Derek Kirkpatrick, and he sent us a video. So let's check that out right now.
Currently, the Farmington River is just over 400 CFS. Trout have moved into their winter lies, so look for slower seams, about waist deep or a little over knee deep water. On brighter, sunnier days, you're going to get a temperature spike, and that's going to push fish in a little bit of skinnier water It's also going to get the bugs active, and those tend to be your more consistent days in the winter. For entomology right now, we have immature Hendrickson nymphs that are in the drift, as well as winter caddis larvae and some midge larvae. So for the midge and winter caddis, a size 18. Winter warrior, some thread midge flies like brassies will also work, and any kind of pheasant tail in an 18 and 16 is a good bet. Any kind of mayfly nymph. Currently, you want to be careful handling fish, so even though it's cold out, you want to take your gloves off. You want to get them in the water pretty quick, because they are post-spawn still, so they are pretty delicate. A good pair of winter gloves is going to help you out right now. So right now I'm wearing like these fingerless wool gloves. Wool retains its warmth properties even when it gets wet. Anybody heading out, if you get cold, just take a break, swing your legs, get your feet warm, and just be careful waiting. Back to you, Dave.
Derek, really appreciate it. That was some really cool information. Hope to hear from you many times over the winter and beyond. Again, really appreciate it. Thanks for sending the video along. So as you can see, that's a great option in Connecticut. Also, if you remember last week, we were talking about the fact that DEP or DEEP was forced to stock, 12,000 trout in 10 lakes. Those ponds are all going to be great options for you this week as well. And then another thing, Connecticut Fish and Wildlife did another round of stocking in the Naugatuck and the Shetucket with some more salmon. I also saw that Toby Lipinski's son caught one this week. So that's a viable fishery. It's not a guaranteed lights out fishery, but it's a good challenge, and there's some really nice fish that are stocked in both of those rivers. Definitely a phenomenal option for wintertime fishing, and it's after December 15th now, so you can keep one if you'd like to. Out on the Sound, there are still some sea bass around. There's still probably a codfish or two on some of those ledges. You're going to be fishing deep water, probably 100 feet to start. But still, you know, the Black Hawk and anyone else that's heading out of Connecticut to do any ground fishing at all is really heading straight for Block Island, not wasting their time. You know, they're going south and east of the island, and that's where the bite has been the best. That's a story that I have for you guys this week. I hope you guys all have phenomenal holidays, Merry Christmases, all that stuff. Hope you get all your shopping done. I still got a little bit to do tomorrow. And if you're not a subscriber to The Fisherman, I really recommend heading over to the website. You're going to find a lot that you like. You're going to see that we have articles and reports and videos and all this stuff to cover the entire region, our entire coverage area, which really stretches from Delaware up to Maine. We've got a few spot travel pieces in there as well. If you're not interested in subscribing to the magazine, at least give us a like and subscribe here on YouTube, and hit that little bell thing down there so you get a notification every time we post something new. And the last thing I remind you is that you don't have to watch this video to get the fishing reports. You can also look on, you can also search for it on your phone as a podcast. And basically just search for the Fisherman magazine, and you should be able to tap and click your way in from there. Again, happy holidays to all. Good luck if you head out there fishing, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.